No public forum presentations have been advised, but we do have one deputation this morning. Tane Apanui, a 10-minute deputation regarding item 18, the Council submission on government policy statement on land transport. So, Tane, good morning. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. We will bring that item up the agenda so that when you finish presenting to us, that'll be the first item that we'll discuss. We do have a full agenda this morning, so whilst it's great to have you with us, I can only allow 10 minutes for this deputation, and if you wanted to allow time for questions, that would need to be within the 10 minutes. But thank you very much for being here. Over to you.
All good.
All good. Okay, good morning everyone. I'd like to address the government policy statement on land transport, in particular item 18. Okay, so one of the key points in here states overall to manage travel demand, funding for walking, cycling, public transport and roads and highways should be more balanced. So as you know, I've recently undertaken a Pledge Me campaign, which is up on the board, to help bring commuter rail to Canterbury. The public transport, the public support has been strong for this, with the best indications coming from a Stuff survey. So you'll see up there they surveyed 13,000 people with a 96% positive feedback towards rail, 4% negative. I've come to the conclusion that we as a collective, myself included, have been looking at this all wrong. So we've been trying to attach a ship to a lifeboat and just can't figure out how that's done. When if we looked at it correctly, we'd be attaching a lifeboat to a ship. If I asked you guys to attach a car to a wheel, it would cause a wee bit of a conflict. We shouldn't be attaching rail to the public transport network. The public transport network needs to revolve around the rail. It is, by location and logistics, the centrepiece of our city's transport. It runs unimpeded through most of the employment-rich areas of the city. And with bus patronage floundering, it's time to take a new approach and give the bus service a solid centrepiece on which to function. It's bearing this in mind, I'd like to ask that that key point be changed, not to be balanced, but to be rail favourable. So we know it will work if we look at Sydney, Melbourne, Auckland and Wellington. All their systems are currently under stress, and that includes the rail. Auckland's rail network can't keep up because they didn't plan for growth. So let's be smarter than Auckland. Surely that can't be hard, we're Cantabrians. So let's not miss this opportunity that we're going to be basing our city's logo on, the City of Opportunity. This is one that we should be taking. My Pledge Me campaign has attracted attention from around New Zealand, most notably, other than the media, Dr. David Lupton, who is a transport economics policy and operations analyst. He got in touch with me and offered assistance. Upon completing a review of my numbers and a $1.8 million budget that we've set, he wrote the following, which is included in the letter that I've given to you. The argument against rail in Christchurch in the past was that the railway station was too far from the city centre. Recent development in Christchurch has led to significant decentralisation, which is both a problem and an opportunity. I note the analysis you have undertaken, and I think your approach is sound. The strong residential development to the north of Christchurch should provide a good market, particularly as rail time will be competitive. When modelling for commuters, the number one factor in decision making is travel time, which the train will have over both cars and buses. The next factor is comfort levels, with Wi-Fi and no road stress, again, sees a train outdo the car and bus. So the numbers are there. The ECAN report done 2 years ago would indicate that the numbers aren't just there to service, but we won't actually be able to keep up with demand already. So the numbers in the ECAN report were over 1,400 to make those trips every day. With the service that we're looking at, we only have capacity for 1,120 from the north. So we're already behind the 8 ball. Are they environmentally better? Yes. Are they going to reduce congestion? Yes. Will they reduce road risks? Yes. Will the service make money? Yes. Which shouldn't be a requirement, but seems to be for rail over buses. But the business model proves that yes, it can make money. So I'd like to change I'd like to make a change to the wording to reflect such an initiative towards rail. And that's it from me.
Thank you very much. So that does allow some time for questions. Glenn.
Thank you. Good morning, Tane. Thank you for this. It's been put to us in the past that if you undertake a trial, it's in fact not a trial, that you have to go the whole hog. So I'd just be interested in your response to that.
Okay, so you don't have to go the whole hog. You can run a trial on a limited basis. So which means, yes, you've got to get the rails, the trains here, which seems like the whole hog, but the infrastructure around it can be set up on a temporary basis. So there is no requirement that the platforms be made of concrete. They just need to be safe. So you can do that with the old sleeper and dirt backing like they still have in Waipara. So you can do that quite cheaply. So instead of spending $500,000 on the platform, you can spend less than 100.
Any further questions? Phil.
Thanks, Tane. And so, you'll recall that we made a similar application for the Joint Public Transport Committee.
Yep.
That ECAN and the whole committee said, look, to work out specifically what you're proposing, that you would join some staff together and work that through. So is that helpful for you and perhaps for us to clarify the specifics perhaps of what you've got in mind?
Absolutely. I'm very fortunate to be speaking to you guys and to be working with ECAN on this. We do have our first meeting next week. Some new information has come to light. The public opinion on this has been a much stronger than what was previously thought. Having Dr. David Lupton come on board, who's worked on rail all around the world, has certainly changed my outlook on things. Yeah. Does that sort of answer your question?
No, it does. And the other part too, because there was a very important report at that meeting as well around a business case for public transport, and it was a very full report, and rail was referred to, and I'm just wondering, in fact will be, and has all along been included in the reports as to how we can have the best, most fastest public transport system, including new technologies. Yep. So I'm assuming that you thought that report was pretty fair, and that the process which the Joint Public Transport Committee will now embark on to have the business case completed, that you were in agreement with that.
Yes, I can't disagree with that.
Yep.
The report you're referring to is the ECAN Rapid Assessment.
That's right.
Yeah, so which was aimed at a short-term solution, which didn't work out to be.
No, sorry, I'm not referring to that report. No, I'm referring to another report on the then paper.
Okay.
Yeah. Staff may speak.
Oh. You're here. G'day.
If you have those questions been answered, that's fine.
That's right. Just brief the councillors as part of the work we're doing for the Greater Christchurch Public Transport Committee. They've agreed for us to progress a business case on what we've loosely termed public transport futures, and that is a mode agnostic study that will look at the future of public transport 20-30 years hence, and that will consider rail, all forms of rapid public transport, but it won't be specific to rail. So we're going to sit down and meet with Tane, take on board the work that he's done and include that within that wider piece of work. So that work is underway as we speak, and we're reporting to the Public Transport Committee on it.
Great, thank you, Richard. Are there any further questions for Tane before we finish the deputation?
Just a very quick one, if I may. So you've got a Pledge Me campaign running.
Yeah.
Till when?
So they'll finish on the 23rd of April.
Okay, and so that money that you raise through there is for specifically what?
So it's to buy the rolling stock that's ex-Auckland. So there are 4 trains up there that we could get our hands on, but Mozambique are looking. So it's a wee bit urgent.
So you need the money for to buy the stock, and then you'll need some additional funding for some bits of infrastructure, and possibly would you be leasing the lines? Or
Ideally, so we pay a access fee per kilometre on the lines. So that's, yeah, I suppose we lease the lines.
right. So the main thing for you is to get the stock at the moment.
Is to get the stock before it leaves.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll miss the opportunity.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. That brings us to the end of the 10 minutes, but Tane, thank you very much indeed for coming and talking to us this morning. Certainly provoked some interesting questions as well. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. So.